Welcome back, everyone. We will now reconvene with the pre-registered delegates for the proposed 2026 Mayor's budget. I would like to mention that staff are here this evening to listen to the delegates as well as council. I encourage council to make notes as they listen to the delegations in case there are items they wish to ask staff about at the First Amendment meeting on November 17th. For those joining us for this part of this evening, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank everyone for joining us for this meeting. We appreciate your participation, and as we come together to serve the community, I ask that we create a welcoming and positive environment for everyone that includes respect, kindness, and inclusion. Together we can make this meeting space one where respect, kindness, and inclusion are at the heart of everything that we do, that this is a safe space. Behavior that is disrespectful, disruptive, aggressive, or intimidating will result in those individuals being asked to leave. Please note the first delegate will be from Cambridge Memorial Hospital, and that this proposed budget currently does include the funding that they are going to be speaking about. This funding is to support mental health. Specific funding has been allocated towards the conversion of a second mental health seclusion room within the emergency department. This information can be found on page 221 of your budget books. So I'd like to welcome up first Lisa Short and Patrick Gaskin from Cambridge Memorial Foundation. You will have 5 minutes. Welcome.
Great, thank you. Ready?
Ready.
Okay. Mayor Liggett, esteemed councillors and city staff, thank you for hosting us to provide an update on our hospital and foundation. I'm joined today by Patrick Gaskin, President and CEO of the hospital. We are grateful for an engaged previous and present council that has invested over $5 million in local health care over the past 30 years. Your support has been instrumental in the redevelopment of our hospital, and together we will continue to grow.
CMH is your local hospital. Our skilled medical staff offer specialized care in many areas, including intensive care, oncology, mental health, surgery, obstetrics, liver health, and others, so that you can receive excellent care without leaving your community. As you know, CMH is a 24/7 operation. These stats paint a picture of what goes on behind our walls. I want to share with you a number that's not on the screen, 83%. For Cambridge residents who get inpatient care at a hospital in Waterloo Region, 3% go to St. Mary's, 14% to Grand River, and the remaining 83% come to CMH. We are our community's hospital. And when you look at the data for mental health, 89% of Cambridge residents get their inpatient mental health care at CMH. Of the 25,000 residents who needed inpatient care, over 21,000 of them came to Cambridge Memorial Hospital. We continue to drive innovation and quality improvement in many areas. Like many organizations, we are incorporating responsible artificial intelligence into the work we do, using it in our analytics, resume screening, and in scribing in our emergency department. I am also pleased to report that we've achieved Choosing Wisely Canada's Hospital Quality Improvement status. We are the 6th hospital in Canada with this status, one of 3 in Ontario, the only one west of Toronto. CMH was recently named one of the top 200 employers in Canada for best corporate culture. And on November 20th, we will receive our gold level certification from Excellence Canada for creating and sustaining a healthy workplace. With the support of the City of Cambridge, we look to expand our resources within the emergency department to meet the community's needs. This includes improvements within our mental health and addictions program. Mental health and addictions at CMH is focused on providing timely care through emergent, acute, day hospital, and outpatient psychiatric services using a broad range of supportive skill building and evidence-based programs. We provide intensive services to a wide range of people and age groups with complex, severe, and acute mental illness. We offer an outpatient program with on-site counseling and life skill building support, and an inpatient program with 25 beds available for adults experiencing acute mental health conditions requiring more intensive care. When patients experiencing a mental health crisis arrive at the emergency department, we use one of two safe rooms located in the dedicated and separate space within the emergency department. These low stimulation rooms are designed to provide a controlled space for observation and de-escalation, where patients have access to psychiatrists, social workers, and dedicated nursing staff while under safe and supportive observation. These rooms contribute to enhanced patient and staff safety and improved clinical outcomes. More broadly, they improve patient flow and decrease strain on the existing emergency department resources by enabling a subset of patients to be relocated from the regular emergency triage and treatment bay areas to this area. This separation reduces the risk and stress for everybody inside the emergency department. Since 2023, usage of these two safe rooms has increased 357%. This year, usage is trending similarly, with the expectation that the need will rise in the winter months. CMH looks to meet this increased need by this increased demand by renovating the unit within the emergency department and adding a third safe room. The addition of a third room will allow us to move more patients experiencing acute mental health and addiction crises away from patients inside the emergency department, where de-escalation and evaluation can happen in a safe space.
Thank you. In closing, this photo is from the ribbon cutting ceremony where we celebrated the opening of Wing B at CMH in January of this year. Patrick and I are honored to serve our community through our work and to have been a part of this milestone moment. It reminds us of the supportive community that surrounds us. In the front row that day were these small children, each born at CMH 5 years earlier and representing the future of our hospital and community. To keep our hospital future ready to continue improve and meet the needs of our residents, we are asking for an investment of $300,000 to create an additional mental health safe room within our emergency department. This investment will expand our resources and help us respond to the increased demand for mental health and addiction support in our community. These two rooms are a valuable tool for our team at CMH and to keep everyone safe within our walls. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight.
Thank you. Are there any questions from anybody? Councillor Kimson.
Thank you very much, Mayor Jan, and through you. Thank you, Lisa and Patrick, for your presentation. I'm wondering if you could elaborate a little bit on what might happen if a patient comes in and there is not an available safe room. How might that affect the staffing and the ability for the staff to care for other patients as well?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question, Councillor. So that the challenge, it puts a stress and a challenge within the rest of the emergency department. What we would end up doing and have done in the past is what we call one-on-one care. So we end up locating that patient within the space, a less safe space within the emergency department, and provide one-on-one observation in order to keep the patient safe and keep the staff safe. It can be the unit itself, it can be disruptive and noisy, and that's not helping to contribute to the de-escalation. And it also may not be in a good environment for the surrounding patients, depending on the condition of the patient. So, and we didn't have this in the old emergency department. So it's such a gift that we have, that we're able to create this space, and it's really difficult when both rooms are occupied, and then the impact that it does on the staff, the patients, and the patient experiencing the mental health crisis. They're just not in a space that's best for them. Does that help answer the question?
That's great. Thank you very much.
Councillor Devine.
Yes, thank you, and through the chair. Patrick, I would like to thank you and all of your staff for the great job that you've done at Cambridge Memorial. Okay, that's important. It's not all about you, it's about your staff. And as you can see, I just had a trip in there quite recently, and staff was great. Staff was great. And that's something we need to be proud of in this community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So that wasn't a question. No, it was good. It was good. Councillor Schwery.
Thank you, Mayor Liggett, and thank you, Lisa and Patrick, for your presentation. I'm just curious, does the provincial government not pay for these rooms? If you can explain why you're coming to a city council rather than the provincial.
Yeah, so it's an excellent question, Councillor. And so in the beginning of a new construction build, the government puts in 90% of the construction costs, 10% of the and 10% is the community, and then for the furniture, furnishings, and equipment, all of the equipment inside the hospital, it's 100% community funded. Once you have the space, you're all on your own for everything. IT, every renovation, a new boiler, anything, you're on your own. There is a fund the government makes available for things like boilers, but then, and it's a limited fund, an annual ask, but still beyond that, new roof, things like that. If you don't have enough money within your hospital, within the fund, you're looking to the hospital, and then and you're looking to the foundation to support it. So new build, yes, renovations, reconstructions, things like that, you're essentially on your own through community support, through the foundation, and through the hospitals, what money the hospital can contribute through a surplus.
Even like changing it to different specialized rooms, like the mental health room, the provincial won't. Government won't.
No, they wouldn't. Not regularly. You can do if you're doing sort of a major renovation of a space. You would submit. There's a small equipment plan through a small renovation budget through the government. It's usually for projects $1 million plus and under $10 million. I would say the stack is this high of requests for it, and the budget is this big for it. And this would not qualify based on the size of it.
All right, thank you.
Councillor Hamilton?
Thank you, Mayor Liggett, and through you. And thank you, Lisa and Patrick, for your presentation and for all the work you both do. And Patrick, you spoke about when situations when both rooms are occupied. When a room is occupied, and I know every single patient has unique needs and unique circumstances, but how long would a room typically be occupied for? Would it be minutes, hours, even days, or?
Yes, we try to stabilize the patient and move them to the inpatient unit as quickly as possible. But you're looking for both de-escalation and medical stability. So part of that is you're closer to all the resources of the emergency department for that medical stability side beyond the de-escalation. So patients can be there for days, but not the usual. The usual would be 24 to 48 hours. There have been rare occasions when it's taken longer in order to make sure you've got the medical stability, because the goal when we move them onto the inpatient floor is that they are medically stable. We still have an intensive space there if there's still some concerns about potential for escalation. So we still have a space within the mental health unit for that. We would never transfer a patient back down to the safe room, so it's a one-way flow. But it can be, it's not usually, but it can be multiple days.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for allowing me to have an inside view of what happens there. It was an eye-opener for me. I know personally of, not at your hospital, but I know personally of somebody who was in a psychotic episode who injured a stranger's 5-year-old child in the emergency room of a hospital because there was no safe, secure room. Can you speak to when you have the secure rooms full, what you do and what that displaces?
Yeah, so we have 40 treatment bays within the unit, within the department. So if both are taken, we would move. We'd bring that emergency patient to one of those existing treatment bays. They're individual rooms. It would require dedicated both security officer and a nursing or a professional staff as well. And it doesn't create the environment because there's potential items within the room, lights, the bed, how it's set up, the wall, items on the wall that don't contribute to a de-escalation, and so they could cause harm. The patient could use them to cause harm to themselves or others. Your point about about someone injured in the emergency department, which is just terrible. And we have staff who get injured in the emergency department because of the unfortunate situation that the patients are in. And for us as an organization, we have a commitment that they are offered a consultation and support from from our senior leadership team. We are informed anytime that any of the staff are injured across the organization, and offer that reach out and support, because nobody comes to work to get hurt, and it's a terrible situation. And so those rooms provide such a safe environment for the staff and for the patient. It's so important. You saw the rooms. They're not pretty in the sense that they're very low stimulation. We talked about putting wall coverings on or some bright pictures or whatever. And part of it is this is the best environment. We can control the lighting. We can help the patient. We have the medical support nearby, and everybody's safe. Everybody's safe. And when you don't have that, or you have the third one, nobody's safe. The patient and the staff, and in your case, visitors or other people, which is just horribly unfortunate. Sorry to go on so long about it.
No, that's okay. Councillor Kimpson.
Very much, Mayor Jan, and through you. I'm wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more on what these secure, safe rooms are like. You did touch on it a bit as far as the lighting being able to be controlled and how they are free from attachments on the walls. But when we had the opportunity to tour them, we noted that they are quite bland, but it also has a different type of ceiling. Any of the oxygen or other things are behind a specialized panel. And I'm wondering if you could just share some of that with everybody else, please.
The councillor did a marvelous job just explaining the room. I'm trying to think, what do I add to it? High ceilings, the wall protection is a stronger wall protection than drywall, for example, in terms of, again, no harm to themselves or others. Even the design of the door, the ability for observation, so we're able to see lighting control for it, so depending on the situation. How the HVAC, so how the heating and ventilation, again, have to be in such a way that isn't a normal room. We'll figure out what the bedding will be for the patient. So again, something safe for the patient. So it wouldn't necessarily at times obviously involve a stretcher. So it's kind of that whole room. I think what is nice is it's also separated. So from a soundproofing for the rest of the department, it's away from, it's in the emergency department, but it's away from it. Visual observations that the patients are able to see the staff that are observing them, so they know that their staff are there and be able to support them. Methods of being able to communicate with the patients in the room, again, so that they see them. There is a consultation room, so as patients de-escalate, they can have a consultation outside of the safe room if that's appropriate, in a more conducive environment, and it's all tucked away in the corner. And a waiting area for loved ones, again, away from the department for it, so the supporting. So it's more than just two rooms. It really is an environment that we're trying to create. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So just to let everyone know, no decisions are being made tonight. There will be no questions of staff. Staff are here to observe and listen, to do takeaways. And I will restrict you only to budget stuff. If it doesn't pertain to the actual budget, then I will stop you in your delegation. Next up is Peter Hyman, request from Partners for Climate Protection Program as a means of saving significant money from the budget. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Peter Hyman. I'm a Cambridge resident and taxpayer, and I wish to make a proposal that could save the taxpayers of Cambridge significant money. I'm referring to the Partners for Climate Protection program that Cambridge has been investing in for many years. The PCP program, a Canadian initiative managed by the Federation of Canadian Municipalities and ICLEI Canada, has at its roots a 1990 United Nations declaration. It's critical to note that PCP is a voluntary program, and municipalities can opt out at any time. PCP costs can be very significant, but are hard to pin down, as they are often hidden among a variety of budget items. There are costs of establishing a baseline inventory, setting reduction targets, developing local action plans, implementing that plan, and monitoring and tracking progress. I initiated a Freedom of Information request in March to access PCP-related expenditures, but was told I would be required to pay, quote, substantial additional fees for the request to move forward. I declined, musing over the fact that I already pay enough taxes to the city. On September 23rd, I presented a delegation to City Council regarding the revised 2025 to 2029 Energy Conservation and Demand Management Plan. I argued at that time that Cambridge should be focusing its attention on local needs rather than global initiatives. A discussion by council members ensued, and when the vote came to accept the new ECD plan, 3 council members voted against even receiving the report. Councillor comments included, quote, "We are spending a lot of money for an insignificant change. We are not going to affect climate change whatsoever." Another quote, "A major concern for my constituents is the cost of these programs." On September 23rd, I referenced 2 recent peer-reviewed studies questioning the climate crisis narrative. On March 21st, 2025, a study appeared in the Science and Climate Change Journal. It reviewed decades of data and found no clear evidence that current climate trends are an emergency. Another study from September 20th, 2024, in the journal Science looked at 485 million years of climate history. It found that we are actually at a temperature low compared to much of that period.
Could you speak to how this speaks to the budget, not whether climate change is real or not real, that sort of thing, please?
I'm trying. This is all about PCP. I'm trying to demonstrate that PCP, which you spend a lot of money on, is money that could be spent elsewhere. That's what I'm trying to prove here. It's all relevant, I believe. I also talked about our global impact. As you can see from the graph, Canada contributes only about 1.5% of global GHG output, and Cambridge's share is a tiny fraction of that. So Cambridge represents only about 0.005% of the global total. Meanwhile, countries like China produce 26% of global emissions and continue expanding coal power. Given that scale, I think it's fair to ask, will our local sacrifices make any meaningful difference globally? At the same time, Cambridge is facing urgent challenges, including road maintenance, flooding, housing affordability, and downtown revitalization. These are areas where our funding, staff time, and policy focus should be going, not towards satisfying external benchmarks that come with unclear costs and questionable benefits. Other municipalities are also looking at the financial burden of the global-based PCP program. Last year, the city of Thorold reviewed their participation and voted 7-1 to completely withdraw from PCP, citing unclear costs, intangible benefits, and a growing sense that local priorities were sidelined by global policy agendas. In April, over in Oxford County, more than 130 residents packed the council chambers armed with a petition signed by 777 residents, urging the council to withdraw from the PCP program. That action spurred on the lower-tier township of Norwich to officially table a motion requesting a full cost analysis from Oxford County. Taxpayers want to know. Thorold's decision reflects a fair question. Are we allocating limited resources to serve our residents or to fulfill global benchmarks that were never debated or consented to by the people of Cambridge? In conclusion, as I stated on September 23rd, this is not a call to ignore environmental responsibility, but it is a call for measured, transparent, and locally accountable policymaking. I respectfully ask that Council, 1, seriously reconsider Cambridge's continued involvement in the PCP program. 2, request a full cost accounting of all PCP-related expenditures. And 3, consider following Thorold's example, taking a principled stand for local control, transparency, and fiscal responsibility. The full Cambridge experience, as Mayor Liggett put it, could still be enjoyed with a lower tax hike and a renewed focus on local priorities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Peter. Are there any questions of the delegate? I see none. Thank
Can
you.
I leave a copy of my report?
Sure. No, here, somebody's coming to you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Next up is Thomas Smith, Old Galt Observatory Team, about a commitment to contribute the MAT tax reserve towards an observatory tower and council's acceptance of the project. As I said, nothing will be decided tonight. You have
Thank you.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council, and ladies and gentlemen. I should mention the last time I was doing this in this room was 37 years ago. It's been quite a while. So on September the 23rd, we did have an opportunity to present the project to council. We're hoping that everyone did pay attention to that. I'm going to change up my planned remarks based on what guidance you provided here. We find ourselves sometimes in a chicken and egg situation. I should mention where this has come from, and there's 5 of the 12 that are working on the project here tonight. A year ago, May, we presented at the flood weekend. Ken DePodesta and myself were instrumental in doing the original flood work and living levee work along the riverbank. And when we made that presentation, we showed images from the Living Levee project. And when the old Galt Observatory, what was called the turret back then, was shown, a great interest was shown by the majority of the 150 people that were listening to our talk. And that now has grown legs, and we've advanced the work that we've done here. The illustration that's on the board there shows the revised concept that we've developed to make sure that it fits the property and that it is code compliant and so on. We have raised the issue in our submission about the MAT tax reserve fund. We know that the project is not on your books for this coming year, but we'd like to see it come forward soon. We are willing to work with city staff and develop a fundraising program of our own. We know that you're doing the same on many, many fronts yourself. But I would make a couple of comments from the implementation report when the city established the MAT tax in 2019, because one of the specific projects that were referenced was to develop tourism infrastructure along the river. And it also highlighted the fact that Cambridge residents can benefit from that infrastructure without it affecting their property taxes, and we felt that that was pretty significant. There was also an initiative several years ago, Back to the Rivers, that resulted in the low-level walkway on the east bank of the river and the pedestrian bridge, and in that also was a proposed west bank low-level walkway, which we felt was important and contiguous to the turret project itself. When we've talked with various agencies. We talked to the Grand River Conservation Authority. They're quite happy to come and talk to us, but they want to have the city at the table. The project needs to be a city project. We need to know that we can do the project, and we need to know that there's a commitment from council to receive it. We would very much like to meet with staff, share what we've gathered with staff in order to have them produce a report that would come to council from your own staff that would provide some confidence that the project is a viable project. We have got Trinity Anglican Church on board. They're quite willing to enter into a right-of-way agreement with the city to allow this to happen. And we are aware as well, we've been in discussions with council that there are discussions going on about the MAT tax and how those resources are dispensed, and we fully understand that. But we think that a contribution from the reserve fund for tourism and aligning with the objectives of the program would go a long way to helping us to convince others to provide funding to help the project become a reality. So that's the pitch we're making tonight.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councillor Schwery.
Thank you, Mayor Liggett. Thanks for your presentation. I just have a question. So you're coming to the city prior to maybe going to the Explore Waterloo Region group, because they also have a lot of funding?
Yeah, there's a lot of groups we want to speak to. You know, the Downtown BIA would be another example, the Chamber of Commerce, et cetera. We want to explore that because it needs to become a project that can go forward. We can't ask for money for something if the city hasn't told us that they're willing to accept this facility and work with us to implement it.
All right, thank you.
Councillor Devine.
Yes, and thank you to the chair. How much funding is required for this project?
We estimate the cost of the project at $1 million.
1 million?
Yes.
Okay, and have you researched or received any funding at this point, or are you starting from ground zero?
We're starting at ground zero because we don't know that the city would accept the project, that you would allow us to go forward with it, or that you're willing to accept it and go forward with it. We need to get that commitment, and that's why I would like to suggest that we meet with your staff so that they can pull together all the, answer the questions and provide you with a report to allow you to make a decision about whether you want this built or not.
Okay, now where is this located?
It's at the base of Blair Road at Melville Street, between, right adjacent to Trinity Anglican Church.
Okay.
And the concept is, this is a site plan that I've got up on the screen now, but the part at the bottom of the plan that hangs over the river wall and extends into the channel would have 9 plaques, historic interpretation plaques, that would point to buildings or structures on the east bank of the river that have a significance architecturally or historically. It also provides an access to the lower level walkway along the river's edge, access and egress to get in and out of the river channel, as it has been done on the east bank.
Okay, and you feel you can do this for $1 million?
Yes, we've advanced the drawings. You can see here, we've advanced the drawings to the point where we know it's compliant and that it can be done. And we've spoken with a contractor who has experience with this kind of work, and they've spent quite a bit of time looking at it to get to that point. Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, you haven't started? This is just, you're at ground zero? You've not started at all?
Yes, that's right.
And how long have you been working on this?
Since last May of 24.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I see no other people questioning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next up is Nathan Whalen. Nathan, when I see the things that you're going to speak about, I only see one that has to do with the budget.
Well, it'll be, all three would be opportunities to invest, no?
Okay, just as long as you're aware, if you don't
Absolutely.
somehow to the budget. Okay. I'm hopeful for you, Nathan.
Thank you. You cut me off or redirect me otherwise.
Okay, 5 minutes.
Thanks so much. Good evening, Your Worship, Mayor Jen, also members of council. It's been a while since I've been with you. I've been away. And that's why I wanted to come by. Once I did read the 2026 budget, I noticed some lots of amazing projects like the Soper Park project. I'm very excited about that. Lots of great investment in infrastructure. I did notice a gap in 3 things that I know have been talked about in the community for quite some time, and I wanted to come by and provide some context on 3 things that you might consider putting into the budget in this cycle. Obviously, most people don't have the opportunity to read every single council report, attend every meeting, so I'm sure that you are on top of many of these things, and I do hope that there is investment, but I wanted to make sure that I brought some attention to them as I did see an absence. There's 3 items. The first one is a significant traffic challenge. I'm sure everyone's aware of it, King Street North and Concession and Speedsville Road. The second is the train whistle safety and noise reduction initiative, and the third is planning for the future of King Street. The first one, in my opinion, as I drive around the city, the #1 traffic concern is that area at Eagle Street North, Speedsville Road, and Concession Road. That particular intersection has an enormous amount of traffic in either direction at key periods of the day. I'm sure you're all aware of that. I do think, I haven't seen anything in terms of an actual investment plan in the capital budget, and that's why I wanted to bring that up here tonight, because it's such a significant issue, causing 20, 30 minutes sometimes, depending on the time of day that you're going through that intersection, just to get through the intersection. That's a huge challenge. And we also know that a part of the reason is because of the Toyota plant and the industrial area. It feeds in order to go up to the 401, in order to go up on Hespeler Road, and many people end up turning at that intersection. It's also exacerbated when the train comes by. In the middle of the afternoon, if the train comes by, I've actually been in situations where you're all the way down. Imagine you're trying to go cross on Concession Road near the Domino's. You're actually stuck all the way down past the schools on Concession, almost as far back as King Street itself, which is totally crazy in my opinion as a driver, and obviously that's not every moment of the day, but it definitely causes additional traffic concerns. And hope we consider some investment in that area, or even seed funding in order to make sure this happens on a multi-year timeline. The next piece is around the train whistle safety and noise initiative. Back in 2023, it was brought to council, and my understanding is that it has been shelved. My ask tonight is that you reconsider investment in this way, either on a one-time basis or on a multi-year commitment. There are 6 different railway crossings that I know that I think there were also more in that report. However, in that report, I know it was about $350,000 that it would cost in order to do the required safety upgrades to these railway crossings, such that noise cessation may take place. And I believe there's a federal department we'd have to apply to, but in order to meet the guidelines for that federal department, we need to do this investment. Because it was 2 years ago, I imagine it was probably more now, obviously, considering the rising costs. It'd probably be about $400,000 in investment. However, this is really important. I know there's lots of folks who believe that the train noise brings nostalgia. I think that there's a lot of value to that. It is beautiful sometimes if you're, hear it in the distance, choo-choo, it's very nice. Unfortunately, when you're right next to the tracks, I live almost directly next to the tracks, when it goes off last night, it was about 1 and 2 in the morning, it went off again at 4 o'clock in the morning, went off again about 5 o'clock in the morning. That, if you're a light sleeper like me, I don't have a baby, but I'm sure there's a baby out there that wakes up in the middle of the night screaming and crying because of this, it's not great for health, and that's the reason why the federal government has a program in order to make sure that we stop this. So there might be a balancing act on the nostalgia where you leave it in the afternoon, it goes off in the middle of the afternoon as well, and not in the middle of the night, but I do think this is something that's really important. And there's also a significant amount of development that's happening in the area, including those 6 buildings that should be scheduled to come up. And I'll just note that and you'll recall, the developer for 777 Laurel Street and 308 Dull Street North, they actually have to not allow the windows to open and make sure every single unit has its own HVAC system because the decibel level is so high. So it does impact likely property value and/or is a development barrier and/or cost barrier, and the law says they can't pay for it directly because of the way the development charges program works, and I'm asking that you make that investment either on a one-time or multi-year basis. I don't have time to go through the rest, however, you have it there in front of you, and I'd open myself for any questions.
Does anybody have any questions? I see none. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
So we have now reached the end of the pre-registered delegates for 2026 budget. We will recess this meeting and reconvene Monday, November 17th at 5:30 to begin budget deliberations and amendments. And since this is the last day to delegate to the proposed budget, no delegations will be permitted on November 17th and 24th. If you wish to submit written correspondence, you can email it to clerks@cambridge.ca. Thank you, everyone.